Hello, dear Professor Pieter Vos. Welcome to the 8th European Congress of Neurorehabilitation. So the European Congress of Neurorehabilitation brings together the scientific and clinical communities. What do you believe is the unique role that it plays in the bridging of the gap between research and daily patient care in neurorehabilitation?
Thank you for this question. I believe that the unique role is that the ECNR brings together a multidisciplinary group of persons. As we will, as you might know, that many diseases that require neurorehabilitation requires many specialists, and I think it's very good and interesting to have these meetings with so many persons from different disciplines: neurologists, rehabilitation specialists, physiotherapists, psychologists, neuropsychologists, etc.
Considering your medical specialty, what future developments do you envision for the complex multidisciplinary field of neurorehabilitation?
Yeah, so my medical specialty is neurology. I'm a doctor in neurology. In the older days I did a lot of research, but in the last decade my work was dedicated to clinical neurology. And of course, from the clinical perspective, where you see a lot of acutely disease patients, stroke, traumatic brain injury, I think that for the future we need to continue the multidisciplinary approach, good education, maybe better guidelines where people have something to do with, so that they will adhere to the guidelines. And I think that also the European Congress or the European Federation can play an important role in that field.
And what emerging trend or technology are you most excited about in the field?
Yeah, of course, the obvious answer will be AI, artificial intelligence, and I really think that it's going to play an important role. But on the other hand, I think it will be important that medical specialists, either doctors or physiotherapists or physician assistants, will keep playing their role. Although the meaning of persons can diverge in this respect. I spoke a colleague of mine, and he is convinced that in the next years we will see that because the enormous amount of data that is available, that the role of physicians, neurologists, or other specialists will become smaller. And I'm of course excited, that was a little bit the question, that we have to see how that works out.
And what is, in your perspective, the most challenging future development in neurorehabilitation, and how can the ECNR come closer to that endeavor?
Of course, you can again mention the role of AI or robotics, or the techniques that are developed. For instance, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is not a research topic, but as a neurologist I have seen many patients with ALS, and there, for instance, is a development that you can place devices on the brain, enabling severely diseased patients to communicate with others. So these, of course, these developments are really maybe changing the field, although it's still in its beginning phase. The same accounts for spinal cord injury, where there have been publications on devices and interfaces that aim to enable spinal cord injured patients, for instance, to walk again or to use an arm or a hand.
And regarding the role of the ECNR?
Yeah, that's of course an important issue. The ECNR does not exist for many years, so it's emerging. I'm very enthusiastic about the EFNR. I'm from the Netherlands. In the Netherlands we have diverse specialties, so rehabilitation is a sort of an other specialty than neurology. We're talking here about neurorehabilitation. So I'm not aware how it is in all countries, but I think that EFNR, as an organization specialized in neurorehabilitation, can play an important role, for instance, for those rehabilitation physicians that are more in general rehabilitation and want to learn or to see the research developments in neurorehabilitation, and also for neurologists or neurologists specialized in rehabilitation. I think the EFNR can be an important platform, either via online or education at congresses, or stimulating research and stimulating collaboration among the different specialties.
And as the co-chair of the EAN task force on mild TBI, what is the most important change that you are advocating for?
Yeah, it's true. I'm co-chair of the task force that will try to construct a guideline under the umbrella of the European Academy of Neurology on mild traumatic brain injury, or concussion, as it is also called. I will be chairing together with my colleague Luca Sebastianelli from Italy. It's a very interesting task, and we are, in this respect, highly excited that we are able to put a multidisciplinary group together consisting of neurologists, neurosurgeons, neuropsychologists, psychiatry, and of course members from the patient community. We are about to start, so I cannot say we go this or that way, but I think the main point I'm advocating for is that we are going to ask the right questions, and those right questions that we can then of course develop in a scientific way, and that it will help the patients in the end, but also doctors and other people who are involved of caring the patients in the acute phase at hospital, when patients are admitted to the hospital or are brought to the emergency department, as well as in the chronic phase, which is a topic in itself. What happens to those patients with mild traumatic brain injury who in general survive and have a small chance of serious complications that are life-threatening, for instance an epidural or subdural hematoma, but that's only a small minority. But it accounts for enormous numbers. Many people every year sustain a mild traumatic brain injury, and I hope that we really can ask the right questions to come up with a practical guideline that will help everybody.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the interview.
Yeah, thanks.